Hey everybody, welcome. Glad you're here tonight. Thank you very much. Clap real quick. That's just for you. That's just get your blood flow. Either give me a standing O or stop clapping, one or the other. I mean, don't waste that value. Okay, so here's where we're at. Thanks for being here. Hosted by Listen University. You're looking at Speakers Night tonight. Every Thursday night, we're here. This is free. It's live. A lot of you have joined us online. Welcome. We've got at least 3 provinces in Canada on tonight, and we've also got 5 other states. So we're happy that you're all with us here on YouTube Live, and here especially on campus with us here at Listen University. My name's Kevin Allen, and I'm happy you're here. You know, tonight's very special to me because of our guest. I've known this guy for a long time, and he's one of those people that's important to you, even though you don't spend a lot of time together. You just know that it was important when you met. You know that it had real value in your life, and you look back on those people. And you think about those people from time to time, and when he walked in tonight, I'm not going to say it was a love story moment, but your eyes lit up as much as mine did, Derrick. I mean, I know you feel for me. I saw it. And his eyes lit up, and his eyes showed his heart light, and that's kind of a reference to the singer. Who is it? Turn on your heart light. Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond, thank you. Thank you, young lady in the front row. You look very good, by the way. Yeah, and his heart, that's my wife. His heart light lit up when he saw me, and we embraced, and music played. It was incredible, and I'm really glad that Derrick Boles is here tonight. Also, he brought a guest with him tonight, CEO of Cult Coffee Roasters, Hans. Is it Schatz or Shots? Shots. Hans is here with us tonight, and he's outstanding. I've had a chance to talk to him tonight. There's no doubt in my mind we'll get him back here for a Thursday night. I think he's got some things that we could all learn from as well. So we're happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us very much. So when I met Derrick, it was clear, first and foremost, that he was an athlete. I mean, he's just truly, he's a big presence in the room, and he's one of those people that no matter who else is in the room, he owns it. And that's what makes him a great speaker, because he's been given the gift of presence, which allows him to present messages that are important for people to receive. And I think that that's who he is. When I first met him, we were actually shopping for speakers for another company, and once we met him, we knew that that's somebody we wanted to capture his message. Obviously athletic his entire life. He played sports, of course, all through school, but the big deal came when he returned to sports as an adult and became a coach. I've learned in life that there's more to coaching, because I've done Pee-wee and soccer and those things, and they try my nerves. I'm not interested in coaching whatsoever, especially kids that would rather chase butterflies than to kick the ball. Really annoying to me. But a true coach, the kind of coaches that write books, the kind of coaches that you see referred to throughout life forever, there's something special about coaches. And it's a calling to them, and that's why you see those guys go on to become significant. Derrick's that guy. He's a significant coach, and he proved his ability to coach. He took the D-League. I don't know if you know what that is in the NBA, but it's the training ground for the NBA players. It'd be like AAA for baseball. Is that pretty accurate? So it'd be like AAA for baseball. He coached in that league and took his team. They won the whole thing. They won the what'd be the NBA championship for his league. They won it all, and it only took him a couple of years to build that program. That's just the kind of guy he is. He's amazing, and he teaches and coaches on leadership, and that's what makes you a better ball player, a better businessman, a better father, a better husband. Everything that we do comes back to leadership. And his true passion is for youth. And that's why I'm glad that some of you younger people like me are here tonight to learn some of these leadership traits so we can use them for the next 70, 80 years of our lives. That's my hope. Derrick has a great book, Leadership. He's going to give a few of those away tonight. And if you, yeah. Outstanding. Probably not to any of you that clapped right then, but somebody's going to get those books, and you're going to love that. I just found out that the Nampa Police Department in Idaho has contracted with him and given him a grant to coach at and teach his leadership principles at all of the public schools in Idaho. So he's all over the place. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Derrick Boles. Thank you very much.
Oh, man. Well, first, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here. You know, it's interesting. You know, I'm just blessed, to be totally honest. I'm blessed to be with you guys right now because I'm going to tell you something that I think is super important. It's about how we start to love each other. I mean, it is. I mean, it's just probably the most important thing I can say to get us started. We need to be loving each other first, and then we can make adjustments from there. So, give you a little history. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, it's interesting, and I think this is relevant. How did I get to Idaho? I live in Boise right now. So I went from Detroit to Idaho. I know. But I got to tell you the story because I think it's relevant. I was being recruited by Michigan State. And the assistant coach, his name is Herb Williams, ended up getting the job at Idaho State. And you know, and I'm going to keep saying this because I think it's important, everything is about relationships. It is. And so I had built a great relationship with Herb. And so he got the head job at Idaho State, and he said, hey, come to Idaho, learn about the community. It was interesting because he said, I need you to come play for me. And so because of the relationship, I ended up signing at Idaho State. And we were good, just so you know. We were good enough. We actually, we won the Big Sky, and it was good times for us. But the other thing I want to make sure I share with you is I'm a big family guy. Like, I adore my wife. We have 4 beautiful children. My daughter is 16. My son is 12. And then, hold on, I'm not done. I got a 5-year-old, Jacoby, who I adore him as well. And then, which is weird, I have a 3-year-old, just a little girl. Her name is JJ. But I want to show you a video about something that I think is relevant. Because one of the things that, you know, I talk about, all of my kids right now are in school. All of them are. So my daughter goes to Valley View. My son goes to Sage. My little guy, Jacoby, he goes to Birch. And then JJ hasn't started yet. So we're going to see what she's going to do. But I want to show you this video because I think this is important for you to see first.
Feel it. Into week 5. Another 45 days and it's official. The Stand Up America campaign. 1,892 miles across America. Deep inside, I'm starting to believe. Stay with me. Come on. 61 miles a day. Central California to Yuma, Arizona, and I didn't do it alone.
If I never get dough like whoa, it's cool just to know I never sold my soul. My goal is to get souls, not to go to get answers to shorty pussies dancing go and the walk the bull for they call the po-po. But we end up in the morgue with the tag on his toes. If they can talk about cash and trash and their raps, then we can talk about snatching cats out of traps. That's set for your soul. Let's set it and roll till we end up in our heavenly home. Who cares about how much or whether we've blown? It's not man, but by God that is best to be known. Come on, stand up, get your hands up, word up, start something, get your heart pumping, yeah, start jumping around. And if you're under the ground, I know you're down with the sound of the sound. Come on, stand up, get your hands up, word up, start jumping, get your heart pumping, start something.
I mean, I woke up when the sun came up, facing 35 miles per hour wind in a mountain. I wasn't sure how far I was gonna go today. $80 miles.
He's vintage, no, he's vintage, like aged wine, a sage with rhyme sentence. But since man at his core is mad hard to reach, we know the Lord is using more than just parts of speech. Paragraphs, paired up to smash, he'll bring the heat, open air ducts and shafts. Who can last in the smoldering heat when he throws the cold shoulder at his judgment seat? Huh? The very breath that we breathe and every gift we receive is in the palm of his hand with no tricks up his sleeve. Isn't that a relief? So sit back in your seat, kick up your feet, take it in and take it back to the street. Stand up, get your hands up, word up, start something, get your heart pumping, yeah, start jumping around.
Here it is. New Orleans Parish. Mountains, desert, rain, wind, 70-degree heat and humidity. I'm here.
It's a narrow road, and if you carry load, you can be set free.
I love these photos, but you know, it's interesting. So I want to tell you why I did that first. Newtown. And I don't know if you guys remember Newtown. And, you know, all of my kids are in school. And a guy shows up with an assault rifle and kills 22 kids. You know, whenever I show this video, it reminds me, you know, that my kids are in school right now. It reminds me, that's why I started this presentation where we need to love each other. I got a little bit frustrated. Actually, I got a lot frustrated. And I decided I'm gonna start a cause to help people understand how important it is for us to stand up. And so when you see me riding that bike, I actually rode a bike that I couldn't sit down on because I was trying to communicate how important it is for us to have enough courage to stand up. And so it's interesting what happened on that bike ride, because I want you to know a couple of things about that bike ride. I rode for 45 days, 5 hours a day. I want you to think about that for a minute. 5 hours a day. And as I was riding, you know, it's interesting what I continue to think about every day. The first thing I was thinking about was, does anybody even care that I'm out here riding? And you know, it's interesting because I really didn't have anybody following me. I didn't have anybody behind me. None of that stuff was relevant. But I will say this, as I started on the journey, it continued to grow. So I went from Actually, I spoke here in Phoenix at a middle school. Superintendent reached out to me and said, I heard you riding from San Diego to New Orleans to the Super Bowl. And he said, I would love for you to come talk to my students. And I said, please, I would love to. I think we need to, there's so much I want to share with them. And as I continued to ride, it continued to happen. So I started speaking everywhere. Like all of a sudden, people were calling me to come speak at their schools. And it was profound because there's a couple things that I think are important that I want to share with you. So first, I was speaking at Dillard University, right in the heart of New Orleans. And it was interesting because it was 500 students there. And I remember, and I want to make sure I share this. I was on fire. Like you're not seeing me on fire right now. I'm just chilling right now. There's another level to me that you haven't seen yet. But I will say this, I was on fire. And I was giving them the goods. I was telling them like, look, there's so much stuff we need to be thinking about, like the relationships, how we handle ourselves, how we communicate, like all that stuff was coming out of me. And so, let me calm down. But I was on fire. And I remember this girl, and she was, it was interesting because all of a sudden she said, Mr. Boles, I have a question. So I had the person give her the microphone, and I took a couple steps back. And she said, we feel you. Everything that you're saying, we understand. She said, what's the most important thing we need to move forward? And I got to be honest, that was a good question. So I was thinking, ooh, right, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay. So I took a couple steps back because I really didn't have an answer. I was thinking to myself, well, and I looked down at my pinky and I said, well, we need a pinky's worth of courage. We need a pinky's worth of courage to move forward. And when I looked up, everybody in the audience held their pinky up. Now I want you to think about that for a second. Everybody in the audience held their pinky up, pretty much saying, we have courage. And that resonated with me. It made me go, wow, you guys are serious. Now you got to remember, I was at Dillard University, and this young lady who, I got to be honest, her voice and what she said and her question was profound to me because I was thinking, you're right, we have to have courage. And so I want you to think about how important it is to have courage. And every time you see me in a photo, normally I have my pinky up. Like if you go look at all the places that I've spoken, and I got to be transparent, I spoke in Australia, I spoke at Standing Rock, I've spoke everywhere. And every time you see me, people are holding up their pinky. So at some point tonight, we're going to get together. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. So mentally, you got to get prepared. And we're going to take a photo with the pinky up because I got to be honest, you have to have courage. If you don't have courage, you really can't do anything. Like, people don't understand, like, if you don't have courage, all of your dreams, all of your visions, all of your thoughts, all of that stuff, it goes away. So you got to have courage to get started. Just a pinky's worth, just a little bit of it. Because once you get started, then stuff will continue to happen, right? Stuff that you don't even see is going to happen because you had enough courage to get started. But most people, they don't have any courage. They don't even have courage to get started. So a couple of things. as I was riding my bike, and it's interesting, has anybody ever driven through Texas? Anybody? Okay, yeah, I know you have, but this was interesting. Somebody had told me that Texas was flat. It's not, especially when you're riding a bike. Yeah. And so that's where I was riding, and they have like these, they call them rolling hills, is what they're called. And I was riding a long time through Texas, just to make sure we're on the same page, over rolling hill after rolling hill after rolling hill. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you're riding a bike at 12 miles per hour, right, can you imagine my hamstrings and my thighs? Like, it was crazy. I was thinking, oh my goodness. But I'm gonna tell you something. Me having that experience taught me something very valuable. We don't ever achieve what we could if we believed in ourselves. Think about what I'm saying. See, a lot of people sometimes get nervous because the haters are talking. Why are you talking? Right? I have to, it's interesting for me because my sister, who lives in Detroit, was calling me every day. And she was like, I don't know why you're riding. I don't know why you're doing this. That's what she was saying to me. And I was singing, first and foremost, I care about kids. So of course I'm gonna do it. And then the other thing is, all of my kids are in school right now. So I think I need to do this. Like, I felt a burning in my stomach that I needed to do it. So let me tell you what I did with her. This is my sister. She's in Detroit. I want to make sure you understand what I did. I wouldn't take any calls from her. Yeah, I wouldn't take any calls with her. Because let me tell you something. When you're riding a bike across the country, you don't need anybody saying anything negative to you, right? You don't need that. So I pretty much put her on limited conversations until after the ride was done. Because I knew that if somebody doesn't support you, and if they don't see your vision, and if they don't believe that what you're saying is going to happen, they can destroy it before it even gets off the ground. So I decided I had to put her in a safe place, is what I call it. It was a safe place. But I knew that if I didn't do it, that she could destroy the vision. And the vision is very important, because even right now, I think about our youth and our young people. And this is simple. Our kids have become distracted. They're distracted. You know what they're distracted by? This, the cell phone. Yeah, and this was interesting. They'll be playing on their cell phones and never have a conversation with another person. I want you to think about what I'm telling you. This is real stuff. And this is the other thing. When you're looking at your cell phone and you want to try, and I got to be transparent, you want to try to connect with a person of a different sex than you, right? But you won't even have any eye contact with that person. It gets a little bit weird, don't you think? Like, that's kind of weird to me. And so most of the time, people are playing on their phones, but they don't have enough courage, I'm gonna go back to that, to sit down and just talk. Let's just talk. Tell me about you. Let me learn more about you. And it's interesting because this really is distracting our kids from understanding how to have meaningful conversations with people. That's what it is. I remember I was at a board meeting, and I kept talking about leadership. Like I kept talking about it. And this was weird. So I started to write it down. I wrote the word leadership down. And I was like, man, these words mean something. Like they mean something. So then I wrote it down again, right? I'm a little, I'm kind of crazy like that. I wrote it down again, and I said, we need to develop an acronym for the word leadership. So hold on. I wrote it down again because I'm like, man, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna come up with it right now. So I'm at the board meeting. Everybody obviously thinks I'm crazy, which is okay. I don't care. And I thought, I think I have what it is. And so I developed this. And I'm gonna be very transparent. Loyalty was the first word that I developed. And loyalty is interesting because, and you guys are with me right now, so I want you to think about this. When you think about getting hired at an organization or a company or whatever it is, and you think about, are people still loyal? No, they are not. And this is important. Like loyalty is super important. Like it's one of the things we need to understand. Like to be a leader, you have to be loyal because, and this is what I think is the most profound about this. Everybody wants their company to be loyal to them. If they get another opportunity, they won't be loyal to their company. I'm just being real. That's who I am. I'm sorry. I'm just that guy. And it's interesting because when you think about how can you be loyal, it's about a mutual relationship. It's about, I'm willing to sacrifice for you because you're going to sacrifice for me. That's what it is. And so we're going to keep having this relationship. But right now, nobody has it. And remember, I travel all the time, so people don't have it anymore. And we need to be teaching our kids how to be loyal. That's just part of the process. This other one, education. And I love education. But let me tell you something. I'm not talking about math and science and social studies. No. I'm talking about getting to know the person right next to you. I want you to think about what I'm saying. It is so valuable to get to know the person who is sitting right next to you. But let me tell you what happens. Everybody thinks education is all about, math or these other things, but ask yourself this question, and this is a real question for everybody in the audience. It could be for anybody. How many kids, right? I want you to think about what I'm saying. Do you know how many kids the person sitting next to you have? Do you know how many, what they like to do for fun? Do you know the history of them? Do you know where they're from? Do you know how old their kids are? Do you know, these are real questions. But if you don't have that inside of you, because we play in the video games and we're looking at our phones, you're not willing to invest to build relationships. And that's what it's about. Everything, and I'm gonna say this again, is about relationships. It is. I don't care what you do. I don't care what the product is. None of that stuff will work if you don't have good relationships. I don't care what you're trying to sell. It's not going to happen. I already know. This is the next thing that I think is even more profound. Accountability. Man, that one gets me excited because, I talk to young people, and I think this is relevant, about getting bullied. I talk to them all the time about getting bullied. And this is going to trip you out. I always say, if you're getting bullied at some level, at some point, somehow, you are contributing to getting bullied. I'm just being real. I want you to think about what I'm saying. Because see, part of being accountable means that you're responsible for everything that's going on. Thank you. I didn't know what was going on, but now I understand. Yeah. Think about this for a second, though. Yeah, that's love. So think about that for a second. If you're getting bullied, what are you doing? What are you bringing to the table? How are you showing up so that people go, oh, that kid right there, he needs to be bullied? That's a real question. And so kids need to understand, like, if I'm being accountable for everything that's going on in our society, and especially for me, because I'm my own CEO, right? So the truth is what am I bringing to the table so that everybody around me goes, this kid needs to be bullied? And that's a real question. And it's interesting for me because a lot of times our kids are so helpless. They don't believe that they have any power. So then what they do is they get small. They get small. And they continue to get small. And they get small. And then all of a sudden, everybody around them goes, oh, they being small. Let's bully them. Think about what I'm telling you. I know this is to be true. But remember, I speak everywhere. So I know kids, they get smaller, and then all of a sudden they're like, people are picking on me. Well, it's time for you to get big. It's okay for you to be big. You know, I love the discipline. And discipline is interesting because when I talk about discipline, everybody thinks I'm talking about somebody who's in a hierarchy or your parents or in a structure, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about self-discipline. I want you to think about what I'm saying. I'm talking about it's 6 a.m. and it's time for me to get up, but instead I hit the snooze button. I know you know what I'm talking about. Hold on, but not only I hit it once, I try to go to sleep for 5 minutes, which is weird, and then I hit it again, right? Self-discipline is key. I'm going to tell you just a quick story because I think it's relevant. So my son, at the time, he was just a little guy. His name was Javante, and I had to take him to daycare. But I made a couple of important mistakes. So the first thing I did, because I didn't have any self-discipline, is I hit the snooze button. First mistake, don't hit the snooze button. If you're supposed to get up at 6, get up at 6. But not only did I hit it once, I hit it again. Man, I'm just tired. I'm gonna hit it one more time. Now let me tell you what happened, which I think is funny. As soon as I got up to get up, I hit my toe on the table. Bow! I know you know what I'm talking about. So my toe immediately expanded. It hurt very bad. Yep. Now, I'm going to see my son, Javante, and he's a funny kid. He said, Dad, I need to eat. That's what he said to me. He's look at me. So you know what I mean? So he's eating, so it's just part of our family. So he's like, Dad, can you get me some toast? I said, okay. Now you gotta remember, I'm lipping around. I put the toast in the toaster, put some strawberry jelly on it, sit down, eat. I gotta go get dressed, right? So all of a sudden, I'm ironing my shirt. Feeling good? All right. And this was funny. I'm going to speak. So I'm ironing my shirt, trying to look good, getting prepared. Now, this is going to make you laugh. My son, Javante, had just finished eating, and he came up to me and he said, "Dad, I love you." And he put his hands right on my shirt. Can you believe this? So now my foot is ginormous. He just put his hands on my shirt, and you already know the strawberry jelly was all the way down because he's just a kid. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not being self-disciplined. And I had to change my shirt. I put on a different shirt. I had to deal with the hurt foot, and I took my son to daycare. But the lesson I learned from that, we have to be self-disciplined. I'm telling you, we have to be self-disciplined, and we have to honor that. Like, it's like making a promise to yourself, and self-discipline is important. So we're going to transition from self-discipline to empowerment. And I want you to think about empowerment for a second. Empowerment means that if I'm one of the leaders, that I'm going to help everybody around me be better than me. Think about what I'm saying. I'm going to find ways to help them become better than me, and I'm the leader. Empowerment is priceless, but leadership, people don't understand that empowering other people, leadership is a part of that. Am I making sense? We're going to go from empowerment to respect. Sounds simple? First, you need to respect yourself. You have to respect yourself. Because if you respect yourself, then you can reach out to other people and respect them as well. But if you don't respect yourself, there's a problem. There's just a problem. And so you got to make sure you're doing everything right, right? You got to make sure you're honoring that process. You know, I told you I wrote it down 3 times because I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about it. This last one, honesty, and I'm a refer to my friends Hans because me and Hans have a great relationship with Dale Brown. Dale Brown coached at LSU. He's the guy who recruited Shaquille O'Neal. So Dale is a good friend of mine. Me and Dale talk at least 2 to 3 times a week. And one thing about Dale that I love is he says, "Derrick, the truth is the truth, period." Think about what I'm saying. Am I making sense? Meaning, there is no compromise. There is no negotiations. The truth is the truth, and that's it. Don't try to make people feel good. Just tell them the truth and let them figure out how they're going to deal with you telling them the truth. Man, that's powerful to me. Even though it sounds simple, it's profound. Just tell people the truth. Don't lie to them. This is the truth from my lenses, right? And I think that's powerful. Integrity is simple. What it means is this. Regardless if anybody can see or not, you're going to be the same person. Even if nobody knows, you're going to be the same person. That in itself says, listen, regardless if it's good times or bad times or in between times, I'm going to stick my pole in the ground and I'm going to be the same person regardless. That to me says a ton. And this last one, which I think is profound. Perseverance. And I want to show you a little video, and then I'm going to talk about perseverance, and then I'm going to give away 2 books. So, 2 things. I'm going to talk about perseverance, but I want you to watch this video for 1 second. This video is 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Just 11 months ago, I had 2 strokes. Not 1, but 2. And when I say 2, on my second stroke, my brain was bleeding. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute, because I was just spending some time with my doctor, and he communicated to me that most people don't recover from a stroke, meaning I don't have a lisp in my mouth. My body, just to be transparent, is still numb. It's numb right now, but I'm not in a wheelchair. And so when you physically look at me, I actually look great. But here's what's changed with me. My mind is totally different, meaning I have 4 beautiful children who I love to death, but the reality is I have no memory of them being born. And so when I think about what God has in store for me, I think about nothing that I've already accomplished. I think about the future and what God has plans for me to do in the future. So I'm gonna share a couple things that I think are important. I already feel like I already had to look at death in the eyes. And when I say I looked at death, like I remember my wife leaving, and I remember closing my eyes, and I remember thinking to myself, why is death sitting over here in the corner? And this is a true story. And I was thinking, why is he inviting me to come see him? I want you to think about that. Now, at that time, I couldn't say a word. So the only thing that I could do was pray. That's all I could do. I continued to pray. And every day when I prayed, he got a little bit smaller. And he got a little bit smaller. And eventually, which I think is profound, he was gone. And I think that's also why I continue to recover at the way that I recovered. Because regardless of what you're facing, we need to be praying. I don't care who, when, how. Prayer is very important. And people who don't pray really don't understand that they're missing out on a lot of stuff. So for me, I continue to pray. And I feel like it's also been a part of my recovery. Like, I feel like because I've been able to continue to pray, and I gotta be honest, when you give your faith to God, the reality is things are gonna be different. All right, I wanted to share that with you because I don't care what you're going through, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, prayer is the key. Yeah. So, just really quick, it's been 14 months since I had my strokes. You know, I don't think people really understand, you know, for me, because I'm a guy who, you know, we all put our faith in something. For me, it's God. And believe me, even when I speak to schools, I want them to know that it's God. For me. Because right now, and I have to tell this story, I couldn't speak for 3 weeks. Could not make a sound. And it's funny because this guy, who I adore and love, was calling just to check on me to make sure I was doing okay. And I got to be honest, I was not doing okay. I wasn't doing good at all. And so a lot of things happen. And when I talk about perseverance, it's relevant. Because for me, and I want you to hear me when I tell you this, I had to relearn how to drive. I had to relearn how to read. I had to relearn how to type on my computer. Like, you guys don't really understand. And when I talk about having perseverance, it means that I was not willing to just say, this is okay. I said, no. This is not okay. This is not okay. And you're going to like what I'm going to say next. I'm not going to accept this. I'm not going to accept this. Think about what I'm telling you. I have to tell you this because it's relevant. My doctor told me, you should be on disability. You are not going to recover from this. The doctor told me that. So she printed out a sheet, and I have it, and I put it on my refrigerator. I said, not only am I not, like you're saying I'm not going to recover, this is my motivation. You just provided me my motivation. It's still on my refrigerator right now. That's how passionate I get, because you guys don't understand. When things don't go right, you need to persevere. Even when it's crazy, even when nobody says you're going to recover, you should be persevering right now. Because if you don't, well, you know how that ends, right? You know how that ends, right? It's not good. And I decided that, you know what? I'm not listening to what they're saying because I believe there's something bigger than me at play. So, and this is for real for me. I wrote this book. It's called The Courage to Lead. Yes. And I'm getting ready to give it away. But, and this is a real question, and anybody can answer it. They already know. It's like they're ahead of me. The question is, what's the most important thing that we need to move forward? Pinky courage. Pinky courage. Wow. Yeah, he was on it. Yep, come on up. I know, yeah. Because I got to be honest, she already had her pinky up a long time ago, so I want to give her a book as well. You know, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know the deal. I'll give you a hug a little bit later. But I want to say this. You know, and these two right here are for my young friends. They know what I'm talking about. That's for you guys. The reality is this, guys. We need to have courage. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's in government. I don't care if it's in business. I don't care if you're dealing with bullying. I don't care what it is. Have enough courage to stand up and say, you know what? There's something I need to articulate so you understand where I'm coming from. And that is how you change the game. You have to be willing to communicate. But if you're not willing to communicate, you already can imagine how that unfolds. So, I appreciate this opportunity, Kevin. Thank you very much. I have a couple books for you guys. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Derrick Boles, everybody. Great job, buddy. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Derrick Boles, outstanding. Thank you, Derrick. Great story. One of you catch the lights, Jason. Somebody catch those two lights, and when they get back up, we'll make Derrick climb the stair one more time, and we'll all surround him, get our pinky fingers up. Is that all right with you, Derrick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here,
please.
center stage,
please.
Get the pinky fingers up and get a picture taken together. Would you all like that? So thank you. There's a program that Derrick has that is available on his website Derrick, I found if you just Google Derrick, there's plenty of information there to go garner from that. And you'll get to his website and Boles Academy and leadership and Stand Up America. He's quite a fellow. So make sure that you do that. And he has a program out that I want you guys to participate in. So I'm going to visit with him about that. And in the future, we'll tie that into another presentation. And we'll award some of Derrick's information in the future. That all right with you? Excellent. All right. So you have something to say? Okay, we're going to get them all up here. The lights are just about up. And so thank you very much for being here, everybody. Thanks for everybody on YouTube. Derrick, man, is he a pro or not? It's 2 minutes till 8 o'clock. He is a respecter of all elements. So thank you, Derrick. And we'll see you all next Thursday night. Speakers night every Thursday. Set it aside. Be here with us next week. We have the world champion box jumper, Ryan Moody, coming back. And he's amazing. He's like 5'10", I think, 5'11", and he'll set up boxes that are 6 foot tall or 6'2", and you'll be looking at him, talking to him, and then you won't know where he is. And you look up, and there he is, up on top of the boxes. And I'm not kidding you. This is not showmanship. When he does it, it looks like he has defied a law of the universe. I'm not saying he can fly, but it doesn't look right. And so I don't care for him. I'm uncomfortable with him because it's got to be evil. But I'm just saying, you're going to love him. Be back here with us next Thursday night. Ryan Moody. Thanks, everybody. Good night. All right, Derrick, right up here. Everybody. Kevin Allen. I'm the CEO and founder, and along with my wife, Robin, we've opened a new company that I think you're going to be very excited about. If you've ever wanted to be the first person in a brand new network marketing company, I got to tell you, this is it. We're not even open yet. More important than that probably is that we have a very unique product. After 35 years in the industry, we could have had any product we wanted. We know every manufacturer. We could have had powders, pills, lotions, potions, soaps, and even some brand new secret things out there that are really exciting, but it would have been Me Too products. Education is special. It's what the world's looking for today. I mean, worldwide, everybody is looking for a way to get the heads up on the next guy by knowing a little bit more. We'd like to have you be one of the first people in the company, and you've come to the right place to do that. Thanks for stopping by.